Welcome to today's light painting video. Now, I normally start my landscape videos on location, but it will be pitch black by the time I get there, so I thought I will show you the equipment that I'm using to make this video, as well as doing a bit of light painting. So let's get straight into it. Sirui have sent me two of these lights to review. It's called the Sirui Duken M6. And quite simply, I've been using this on this camera rig here so that I can see my children's faces when I'm filming them and the sun has already gone down. And the reason I'm using off-camera lighting is because it's much better than my downlighters that I've got in my lounge, which gives you that horrible top-down lighting. These lights give you the complete control over the white balance from 2500 Kelvin to 8000 Kelvin. You can change the output in 1% increments. It's got an HSI mode, which provides a full 360-degree colour range, which quite simply means 360 different colours, as if you were to metaphorically go round the colour wheel. And finally, it's got an FX mode, which has a selection of different scenarios including candlelight, emergency vehicles and lightning. My favourite is where it simply cycles through all of the colours. The light itself has a screen on the back, which is big enough to cycle through the settings. It has an on and off switch on the bottom, as well as a USB-C charging port and a tripod mount. If you take off the diffuser, then you'll see that it has a cold shoe on the remaining three sides. The Indiegogo campaign will be going live on the 10th of January, and there's an early bird price of 25% off if you support the campaign. I'll put a link in the description. You can see the number of LEDs there at 2500 Kelvin, and then if I cycle all the way through to 8000 Kelvin, you can see these are the cool LEDs. The light itself comes with a diffuser, and I've been using it with the diffuser on the whole time. Otherwise, I think LEDs can just look a bit harsh in your face. So I would recommend keeping the diffuser on it. Okay, so now that we've talked about the lights, let's talk about my camera setup. So you've obviously got the light that I've already discussed. The light is attached to a small rig arm, and if I were to loosen that up, quite simply, that just allows it to rotate around. It would be too easy to put this on the hot shoe of your camera, but you get a very flat looking light. So ideally, you always get the light off to the side. Now, that's made possible because I've got an arm on the camera itself. This is made by a company called Coolatron. I think I got it from Amazon or eBay. Very cheap, and this is giving you a few things. First of all, you can see here, now you can hold your camera with two hands, which is going to get you a much more stable shot, plus it's a bit more comfortable to carry around. And then when your camera's not in use, you've got a proper handle. Obviously there are companies out there like Small Rig that do a much better setup, but this is a budget friendly solution. On the bottom, I've got a Manfrotto Pixie, and quite simply that allows me to put it down when I'm not actually using the camera. Below the camera, if you've seen any of my videos, then you'll know that I'm a massive fan of Arca Swiss. I've got an Andoa quick release Arca Swiss plate here. Once again, that came from Amazon. I think that was £22. I love these quick release plates. I put them on all of my tripods, and quite simply that allows you to take your camera from here. If you need to take it off, that's Arca Swiss, so that will go on my tripod. It will go on my clip for my Peak Design strap. So that just makes it very quick and easy, so that it doesn't feel like this camera is tied to this rig. Let's talk about the camera. This is a Sony A7iii with the Sony 20mm f1.8, and this is my go-to setup for shooting in low light conditions. Because let's face it, we are in the middle of winter, we don't get much light, sun comes up at 8, it sets at 4, and if you want to make any videos outside of those hours, then you're going to need a little bit of help. So this is my setup. It might evolve, but I'd say that this is quite a cost-effective solution. So that's the camera setup itself. For the light painting, I will be using both of the lights that Sirui have sent me. That one's going to live on the camera setup. The second one I'm going to use for light painting the trees. And as I've already said, this gives you cool light, warm light, and coloured light. So I'll just experiment a bit. As well as these lights, I'm going to be using this torch that I picked up from Tesco. £5 or £10 I think. Nothing special, but I'll be putting this on the end of a piece of string or a shoelace or something, and you swing this round in a circular motion and you get something called a light orb, which is just like a sphere of light. And if I want some colour, then I'll probably just stick a gel on the end. So that is the setup. Let's go to the woods. Louise, welcome, is back. She's in the darkness over there. She's helping me out with this video, because the trees that we're photographing and light painting, they are scattered apart, so I think it's a bit of a two-man job. So one person's going to be operating the camera, and then the second person, probably me, is going to be running around in the mud. We are between rain showers, so I think we're going to wrap this up pretty quickly. Can you see what you're doing?
Yeah.
Do you want some bright lights in your face?
So I'm blinded too.
Are you ready? Okay, go. Okay, you finished? That looks good. Did you see the ghost when you were up there?
I just like spooked myself out there. Up there.
Are you sure you didn't just stop it?
And you've got your head torch on, you numpty.
Hypnotic. You will subscribe to my channel.
Hit like and subscribe. That looks absolutely magnificent.
Sorry, am I documenting you for the internet? No.
You've got to get real rhythm to it, haven't you?
Yeah. I can't believe you went anti-clockwise. Are you crazy?
You are so OCD, Ben. So OCD.
What are you doing with your life? As you can probably see, Louise and I were having an absolute laugh doing this light painting in the woods, although it was absolutely freezing and very challenging to film. If you are thinking of doing some light painting, specifically the orbs, let me give you a few tips and tricks. First tip, if you're going to be drawing the light orbs, then use a marker on the floor. I put a rock down on the ground, and when you're spinning the torch with the string or the rope, make sure you swing it directly over the middle of the rock. That way you'll end up with a sphere rather than some sort of oval. Second tip, before you start to do anything exotic with the light painting, just get your base settings correct. So we found that when we were light painting with the orbs, for example, we had about 25 to 30 seconds before the brightness of that torch started to overexpose. Now, white light overexposing is absolutely fine, but when you introduce colour, if you overexpose the colour, you'll lose it and it becomes white. So it kind of defeats the point. So get your base settings correct, and then you know how long you've got to do the light painting. And the third tip, which is kind of trial and error, is when you're using coloured lights, such as pink and blue, blue and pink will have a different brightness, essentially, because they are different colour frequencies. So what you'll find is, if you lean towards the blue colours, they will tend to be brighter on camera, and if you go towards the red colours, they will not be as bright. It's just the nature of different frequencies of light. There's a reason why I asked Louise to come out with me, because pretty much this is a two-man job. In order to focus the camera on the scene, you kind of need somebody to stand in the scene, like themselves or a tree, for example. Focus on the tree, and from that point onwards, you'll put your lens on manual focus so that it's not hunting in the dark. So you need to set up the camera, and then you just leave the settings alone. Maybe tweak it here and there once you try different light painting situations, but essentially get your camera set up and you just leave it there. The last piece of advice I'll leave you with is, if you're shooting in low temperatures, then there's a risk of a fog ending up on the front element of your lens, so you just need to keep an eye on that. If it does happen, then make sure you clean it off and make sure you don't jog your camera setup when you're doing so, especially if you're layering up different compositions to make your final image. We found light painting with this, it was much brighter than the torch, and it gives off a broader light source, therefore it was much easier to light paint a tree. However, I do have to highlight, this is not the ideal tool for light painting because it actually gives off light to the sides as well. I just wanted to do something interesting with it rather than review the product, because that would be boring. I do think though this is the perfect product for putting on a small video rig for shooting in low light conditions, as well as lighting small products for photography and for B-roll on videos such as this. Now, although they haven't told me the exact price point of this, I have been told it's going to be below £50, which actually makes it very good value for money. So I've only put one design recommendation forward. If you put the light without the diffuser on the table, you can see that it stands. When you put the diffuser on, because it has rounded edges, it doesn't actually stand on its own, it will fall forward. So that's the only design recommendation I've put forward. Other than that minor design request, I think you're getting a lot of features for not very much money at all. Thanks to Sirui for sending this through. If you are interested, I'll put the links below. Any questions, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.